Hey everybody, welcome back to the circle. Today we have a special game where we're playing against a subscriber. They sent a message and they wanted to play a game. And who am I to deny them? So we'll just go ahead and play a game and see where this goes. There's a little bit of audio setup to do on my side, but hopefully it should all be okay. It looks like the mic is working. Famous last words. I guess here this is a kind of like an orthodox kind of position where in the past you could play O3 at P3 and this would be like a smaller enclosure. So obviously with the large enclosure here, this is more updated for AI. I'll approach from the inside, which kind of aims to split them a little bit. The idea is to make it so that it's difficult for black to build a big area, although I guess it's still very much possible. So far, so good. And this Joseki is very typical. As you all know, this is one that we played a lot on the channel and otherwise. So normally, I think Inseong recommends to always play Q14 because it puts more pressure on this group. But what I don't like is that there's this group over here. I could play over here, but then it allows this push, which is a bit awkward. But at the same time, if you play further away, it's also a bit awkward. So it's a bit weird all around. I guess it still leaves peeping nonsense behind, but I guess I'll play, if I play here, the thing is if I turn, then if I play connect, then you would rather have it one space further away. So I'm going to give that a shot and see how that goes, basically. Because the reason why, it should technically be okay, but if you play Q14, that allows the peep, and technically you could still play R12 and there's a whole Joseki, but you know from lectures that I've done in the past that it gets a bit complicated. I don't know it very well at the moment, so that's why I'm trying to avoid it a little bit. So we'll see where that goes from here. Okay, so approaching on the bottom side, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay, it's a move you can play, and then I suppose I don't want to play. If I respond in this way, then it's too similar to what happened over here, so I'm going to play this one just so we get a little bit of variety. And then we'll see what happens. But yeah, today was my last day at work, so now I am free for the holidays. So today is Wednesday, and so I'll have the next couple of days to maybe shoot a couple of videos before I head off. This is a bit interesting. Okay, so I can play here. And so this shape is actually a little bit different from the one that we had over here, because when the stone is at O17, then the shape is a little bit weaker. But when the stone is at D6, and actually the shape is a bit stronger for white, it's a bit easier to handle everything. So, as far as I know, this is not normally how you play this, but that's all right. I guess like maybe is the difference such a big deal? Maybe not. So we'll see. I've said this like 3 times now, but we'll basically see where things go. Yeah, and pushing. But here you can see now the shape is much stronger. Whereas when it's at C6, then when black pushes one more time, playing this Hane is a little bit more difficult because you can get shortage of liberties and all of this. I guess technically that can still happen, but the stone on D6 is kind of where you want it to be for this shape. But I guess like this is perhaps one of those times where if something isn't Joseki, then it doesn't necessarily mean that it's horrible for your opponent. I remember when I was in previous games or in years past, a long time ago before we had AI, we'd have like these really small differences in Joseki outcomes, and then we'd be like, oh yeah, it's good for white and the game is over, or at least that was the mindset that I used to have. Now I know that if something is like slightly suboptimal, it's, fine. And it's also up to me to be, all right, here this Tanuki is perhaps a bit weird because then you can put do this turn here, but I'll leave that for the second just because I would rather get a move here first, so I'll do that. normally we don't tend to approach this stone so closely because the 3/3 stone is actually quite strong because it's like it already makes territory. It's already alive. So it's not exactly the same as approaching thickness, but you are approaching a relatively strong position. So that's why normally with the 3/3 you stay a little bit further away from it. But once again, like these are some small details, maybe in this game that won't matter very much. So let's see. I guess this turn here is pretty powerful. So let's take stock. So I think this turn is good as well. I'd really like that. So because it stops him from pushing even further. Not that it really matters, I guess. So maybe I shouldn't be too desperate for it. Here, this move tries to make something on the top, but it's not too big or anything. So I could also play the slide here. It's a bit awkward and difficult to deal with. I guess the thing is that this is still opening, so we should just play moves that are big. So I'll just take this turn, then maybe I'll attach over here and we'll play some Joseki out. Of course, white is looking at this area. Here it's quite wide open. So maybe a move at d10 wouldn't be amiss. It's quite early in the game, so not a problem. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well for the holiday season and that you're making it to your holidays intact. Yeah, it's been a pretty tough year for me, so here's to hoping that that's a bit interesting. So here's to hoping that 2026 is a bit easier in all the ways that you would hope it to be. So here I definitely want to get this Atari because this kind of pushes black down a little bit, and I might want to come in and exploit the shortage of liberties, but I think that's a bit too aggressive. So I'm just going to play this Atari, but I don't know if I want to like follow up after that because I can maybe play h6, but that's taking Gote, so I'm not so happy with that. I think the point is that black is a little bit lower, and if they cut here, then I can potentially Atari in this direction and solidify, and then that can be okay. That fight might be all right. Is there a point in just jumping? You can imagine black connects and then white jumps. I guess it is okay, but it's building a lot of territory. Or not territory, building a lot of influence. Okay, but no, this must be a pretty important move, wouldn't you say? Because then the number of liberties on this stone is pretty low. You can imagine like maybe I don't. Maybe I just play here and connect an Atari in here, and then I'm able to completely get into the side over here. So I think that this Atari was a bit urgent. So maybe in responding here, I'm being a bit timid. You know, you can this peep is still there, so I think it would be good to respond, but I can be very, very severe and just respond right now. But I'm let's be patient, I suppose, because I'm not sure. This might be one of those times where Godave is like, you were too passive here. But I guess you want to make sure that you form a fist before striking. The shape here is perhaps a little bit over concentrated. Not over concentrated, but it's not great. Oh, okay, this is quite interesting. So I'm going to do something about this. So if I capture turn here Atari, there's some kind of a ko. Whereas if I just make it short on liberties, then yeah, I think that makes a bit more sense. So I'll go over here. This move doesn't really threaten white because white's already very strong. The benefit of playing a little bit more slowly is that you don't need to respond to your opponent as often. It's also a little bit thin shape. You can imagine that if I play invading moves, then they'll be forcing moves and all this. So this move doesn't make as many points as you might hope for. So we'll capture this. And then coming over here probably makes most sense. Like if I play this way, then there'll be a cut. So I'll play here. This group on the inside isn't alive. So it's actually quite annoying for black. They have to do something about this. They'll probably jump, I can imagine, but then they'll be pressed really low. Okay, yeah. So this is broken shape here, and now we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So playing one more stone here, that will allow it to live. If I get this Hane, then there's one on this side, and then descend. Hane over here, and then there's 4 on the inside. So this group, if needs one more push, but if there's one more push, it'll be alive, which is great. Great for him, at least. And then we can Tanuki, basically. So because I captured over here, there's not as much on this side as you might hope for. I'm also very strong over here now. Yeah, okay, that's also a way that you can do it. If I do this turn here now, though, this group is still not alive. So this is 7. If I turn here, you still owe me one more move. I think, right? If I play here, and then this one... No, actually. No, that's alive, I think. Okay, maybe this turn was a bit slow. My bad. But anyway. So we'll see how he responds. But okay, so that's really neutralizes what was going on over here. And now I'll Tanuki, because it's not that big. I can invest a move over here. This is a bit of a weakness, but I'm not going to be so timid. So playing against the corner here is that the biggest, though? I think the biggest is playing over here, so that's what I'm going to do. There are a number of places to invade, though, so that's... But at the same time, there's some weakness over here, so maybe invading isn't so easy. Or at least getting a move here first. You can imagine getting a move here and then trying to go for the invade. So if he does go, I'll try and like lock him into the corner. Since he's all alive already, giving up these stones isn't such a big deal. So yeah, how was your New Year's? Not New Year's, but how was your year? How has it been? Any plans? Any anything you're looking forward to next year? Things you want to leave behind? Things you want to do differently? I think I have a couple things I want to do differently as well. So yeah, it's just that time of year to reflect. So here, I can take this, but it also makes black really big over here. But at the same time, there should be enough space to invade, I think. So let's give it a try, knowing that it's a bit... It always feels good to take points like this, but it's... I guess like this is a really big move because it's kind of like the kind of the sector line of both the frameworks. I think I can push a little bit here because I'm relatively strong thanks to this wall. I'm not really afraid of any Aji or anything like that. Okay, so that's really giving me a lot of points on this side. And so now it's just a question of how much black can make over here. And once again, it doesn't threaten this group. So we can do it either a deep invasion. It's not clear if the deep invasion is necessary, or we can just continue playing. And I guess the question is, how big is black really? Do I need to invade deeply? Let's play over here first, just to see. So we play over here. Now this is going to be a bit interesting as well. Yeah. That makes sense. Having the stone here is quite handy, I guess. I'm going to try and play over here first because I threaten the connection. And then I can jump out. Because normally what you would do is you'd play R3. But what I don't like is that he can play S6. And because of this R9 move, it's a bit awkward for white. So I hope that by doing something a bit differently here, that works out a little bit better. Right now as well, we're trying a different time setting. So this is 15 minutes and 15 seconds per move, Fisher time. So with Go Dave, we did more 10 minutes. So here, maybe 15 minutes is a bit of a longer game. So yeah, I'm still working out the right time setting. So that's good that we can try this out and see how this goes. It seems like 10 minutes is perhaps the sweet spot, but because if you have 15 minutes, that means, it doesn't seem like that big of a difference, but it's like 10 minutes of extra main time overall. That's actually quite a lot, but anyway. I'm trying not to make videos that are like hours long. Okay, that's interesting. I can still get the connection underneath, I think. And I can still move out. But I'll get this move first. See what he does. Because this is the move that you would normally want to get as white. Instead of playing the R7 move. I guess the question is, what do I do about this corner or this area? We can try and reduce it from the outside, I guess. I guess the point is that I feel like I could invade it, but I don't want to be untoward. I don't want to. I guess the question is, where are the weaknesses? And I guess we have some weaknesses over here, and there's some weaknesses over here. And the center isn't closed off yet, so actually, technically, an invasion should still be possible. You can imagine doing a deep invasion and then playing lightly, or maybe trying to exploit some of these weaknesses along the way. So maybe I'll give that a try. Because what was I need to remember? It was lungs, skeleton, space. I wrote a note in my obsidian trying to describe that. So here, there are the gaps in the skeleton. The liberties pretty high. You have 5 liberties here, 4 liberties here. Okay, that allows me to get this move, which helps me with my eye shape a little bit. And then I can jump out. So white's pretty comfortable over here. So that's successfully reduced. And you can kind of see the temperature shift where, what does black have in terms of points? We have about 7 points here, ish. And then we have 5 plus another 5, that's 10, plus maybe like 3, that's like 13, plus 7, so it's about 20 points here. And then maybe, this stuff over here. So we can say that's about, what was it? So here, this is making this a bit deeper. I don't want to respond here. So I'm going to invade, and we'll see what happens. On the third line, though, like maybe I should just attach. I'll go for the attachment. Because the thing is that if black gets the honey here, like this shape is pretty strong, so they're not going to be able to enter very deeply. Yeah, they can continue to build the center here, but that's why we go for the deep invasion. It's one of those things, I guess, where if you live, then you win, and if you don't, then you die. It is some Greek Game of Thrones kind of thing. Yes, this subscriber left a comment and was like, "Oh, you have a very different style of play to me," and now I see what they mean. They like to play this kind of Moyo style, and I used to play like this. But the issue with playing this Moyo style is that it's very stressful. If somebody invades, then you lose all of your points. It's like you're getting maximum efficiency out of your shape, but that maximum efficiency comes with a cost, basically. So what I can do is like Atari and then connect and then jump. But I think that I don't really. See, I can play something like this, but I'm not going to be able to live locally. The thing is, if I connect here, then they need to do something. Yeah, if I Atari here, then they might Atari here, then I can come down. But I don't want to make myself too heavy, that's the thing. Hmm. And over here, I guess this group, if I'm out here, then this group isn't as strong as you might think. So I guess I want to weaken this a little bit. If I come here, this way, cut, extending, then I'm not quite strong enough. And here, maybe like a cross cut, but no, I don't really like it. Okay, so maybe that's not the best idea, and maybe I should really just reduce. Because as much as I want to, I mean, playing this kind of move helps to reduce the territory a little bit. And maybe I can play. I think the thing is that this group here is maybe not that strong yet. Like this corner here is pretty strong. But yeah, the thing is about playing this Moyo is that everything is thin everywhere. Like you're pushing your stones to the absolute limit in terms of their efficiency. And so you have to do everything perfectly. Like you can't allow for any mistakes when you play Moyo. And that's what makes it so stressful. I guess like every individual move is maybe not that, you know, not that crazy. Actually, this looks pretty interesting. They should probably respond with G15. But I think they'll respond and then I can do an Atari and then sneakily connect at G18. But maybe they're maybe they can see what I'm trying to do. Or maybe he can see. I mean, I know. Come on. This move B5 will be a pretty big endgame actually. So I shouldn't wait too long to play that. Okay. So I can be a sneaky man. Sneaky. And if not, then I can get the Panuki, and then I'm like almost alive. And is there more that can be done? So I get this move in Sentei, I suppose. There's a connection down here, which could be interesting. Yeah, I guess it's just a matter of reducing them. And then then it will be an endgame, I guess. It's also a bit crazy for Moyo games how quickly they end as well, because I think it's because you negotiate it so fast. So I'll get this move, and then we connect. So yeah, I've invaded pretty deeply over here, which is pretty annoying. Or I guess it's still really a reduction, but I feel a bit guilty. This F17 was a bit of a trick move. And here, to be fair, I shouldn't. Can I Hane here? No, because this one here. It is all just a bit thin, to be fair. So I will respond here, but then he needs to protect himself. And then when he protects, do I have enough points to really win? The question is, how much is this worth? So here we have 3 times 3, 6, 8. So that's 24 plus another maybe like 6 points is 30 points. 36, well, 30 points. And then 33. That's another, so that's 43, 45, 51, 57, something like that. Maybe like 60 points here. And how many points do I have over here? You can imagine So we need like 70 points-ish to win. We have some points here. So we're thinking here this is like 8, 10, 19, 20, 29, 30, 31, 35, 45, 47 maybe? Plus another 5 over here, so that's about 50. So it looks like I'm a bit behind. Is that true? But if I get this cut here, so I can get this cut, I can do this push in Sente, I think. But this cut looks annoying. Because then I get a little bit extra points. Okay. So I guess from here I need to find moves in Sente as its end game. Oh, and I might be able to make a little bit more down here as well. So this is nice. With that I gained like what? 5. Yeah, that's almost 10 points right there. But okay, they didn't lose anything by me getting this. But so I'll get a couple moves in Sente, and then I can make a couple more points down here. And then this end game will be big, so I have to be careful about that. And over here, this end game is big. We have a couple moves in Sente over here, so I can make a couple more points. Also, I can try to connect underneath here. Yeah, that's a nice move. That's a nice move. Okay. I don't know, maybe I've underestimated them. I hope not. That'd be embarrassing for me. In the sense of, you shouldn't underestimate people, not in the sense of, I shouldn't lose or anything like that. Speaking of losing, I remember I was talking a lot about the losing that I've been doing playing unranked games against stronger players, and I played about 17 games, lost my mind because of how intense that is, and then what happened? I've switched to playing ranked games again because I need a break. And then I've gone on a huge winning streak, and I'm sitting here at 0.3 Q on OGS. So that's nice. I'm really happy with that. So we'll try to connect. Should be okay, but... Okay, this makes me a little bit stronger here, though, so... But I don't think I can do anything in the corner. But I can still play this move here. I can still play L16. This is interesting. Okay, well, I'll connect this way. And what are we going to do? Yeah. And if I play this one, is that alive? I'm not sure if that's alive. Perhaps a bit of an audacious move, we'll see. I think it's interesting because it looks a bit like an invasion, and if this is an invasion, then I might be able to break into the center. I think that's the thing, is that I need to keep in mind that I have moves in Sente. But okay, we're connected pretty strongly on this side. Yeah. But there's no way that I'm going to... I think the thing is that even if there's a cut over here, then it comes down to liberties, but I should have more liberties, I think. Especially because I almost have this cut. Or rather, the capture. If that's true, then I think black should definitely be behind. Unless I'm completely misjudging the whole game, because it can be. It can totally be that I'm misjudging the whole game. Yeah, there's not a second eye. That's quite annoying. And then... what's a good move to play? I mean, we can play over here. Yeah, and then... just play some moves in Sente. This move is big. I think the thing is that... okay, I don't want to play here, but it feels dubious to not do it. Because otherwise, black can play here, and then it comes down to a capturing race. So I should chill because I have 16 minutes on the clock, so I can relax a little bit. So let's take a look at this here. If I Tanuki, say I play this territorial move here, or maybe I can get a move in Sente here first. Say that I do that, then maybe we get a turn. Maybe I can provoke him into a capture by playing here in Sente. But or maybe they play this S6 and then, but just has one eye. I guess the thing is I have more liberties on the outside. I must do. So I can play here and then here. You know. So that means I can make at least an eye here, and then yeah, I don't think there's anything to worry about. So I'll play over here. And just keep playing the moves in Sente to reduce. And then don't forget S18, don't forget B5. That's interesting. Hmm. What's the bigger endgame move? No, because I don't want them to connect here, so... I keep saying them because I'm so used to playing against anonymous people. Yeah. I don't really want to respond, but it does stop points from being made over here. This turn's also pretty big. Yeah, that's annoying. So we can play over here. And this turn is annoying. You can imagine, yeah, okay, this turn here. Can I come underneath here? I actually think I can. That's also pretty annoying. Hmm. I really want to connect, but I shouldn't. And here. Oh, that's horrible. That's really horrible. Okay. And then I could play again over here. But is it better than playing one of these other moves? This move looks pretty big, so I'm going to play over here. Like, if he'd gotten that move, that would have been so annoying. I would have lost so many points, but now I have way more. So we still have S18, we still have N18, and then doing something about the corner, or not the corner, but like this area. Maybe it would have been good because now there's L4. You know, you can make a bit of points over here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now there's no capture because any approach is self-Atari. Therefore, I'm alive. So yeah, I need to keep that into consideration as well. There's also these captures here. And now I've really reduced him. So yeah, this should really be winning for white, I think. Yeah. So let's try and reduce this a little bit. Aiming for this attachment or something. Yeah, and then over here. And there's another move here. This is the reason as well why Moyo isn't super encouraged. I mean, it's not like it's bad. It's just, it's not as great as you might think. Saying this as somebody who used to play this style, like I remember because I'd play on, this was before AI, before we had AI at all. I remember I'd play on Go Panda, and on Go Panda they have a very passive style, and so to deal with it, I would, you know, they would play, I guess passively. They have like this really, there was really like a framework kind of style. Maybe things have shifted since then, but they would always play like these really big frameworks. And if you can't beat your opponent's framework, then build bigger frameworks than them. And so that's what I did. And that's cool. But as I said, you're stretching through your stones to the very, very limit. And when you do that, then you leave all these forcing moves. It comes back to the Godave's lungs, skeleton, space. And basically, the issue is that your skeleton is thin. You haven't had the calcium. You are not a stick. And how am I meant to fear you if you're not a stick? So, okay, this is really reduced now. What do we have now? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 3 times 8 is 24. Plus 2 times 6, or that was, yeah, 36. Then maybe like 3 here, so that's 39. 40, 41, 44, 50. So yeah, 50 points here instead. And I can get one more move here. Just making sure there's no crazy Aji somewhere. We can get this move in Sente. I guess maybe playing a move at E17 feels good. But anyway, so I'll play here. I don't even have to capture. I think I'm just live here. Yeah. And now let's play this. And then over here. So yeah, and then I make all these points down here. So now how many do I have? I have, so that's 2 times 10 is 20, 28, 28, 30. No, that's not the best way to count. I'll go 8. That's 8, 10, 10. That's 14, 14, 20, 22, 28, 30, 35, 36, 36, 46, 50, 55. I've lost count a bit. That's 60. Say it's like 65 points. You know, that's already, yeah, that's huge. So do I have points elsewhere? Like I have captures too. So this group, this isn't as big as you might think. Yeah, no, white's ahead. There's no way. So I can get a nice move here and even make some points over here. Can be done. D16 Ascente. You know? What else can we get for black and Sente? And 17, that looks pretty nice. So you can play here and then there. And then maybe like stealing a move from me over here would make a couple points for black. There's this Sente-ish. I don't think I should respond. It's just 2 points, 3 points. Yeah, this turn. Are there other moves I can play? Let's play here. Yeah, because I want to play this push, but it's Gote for me, so I want to play moves in Sente. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess that would be a nuisance. Don't want to allow that. So we're almost at the end now. One thing that's really crazy is when I look at my analytics, like I don't know if I spoke about this before, but when I look at my analytics, the watch time from before versus now is really stark. Like people don't watch long form content anymore, or maybe my long form content's not entertaining enough to watch. Either way, you can really see how people watch shorts a lot more. So the content that I get into the channel is now very much like I have a much bigger audience than I did before, but this audience is not as invested. And it's kind of weird because I still am from the time where we had more attention span, says the brain addled millennial. But I'm not used to, you know, I don't have TikTok, so I do watch like YouTube Shorts, but when TikTok came out and it was like, oh, you know, new social media platform, I was like, okay, yeah, no, thank you. I've done this once. We did Facebook. That was not the most enjoyable thing in the world, and yeah, I didn't want to do that again. Although I guess people like uh this kind of new social media a bit better, I guess. I don't know. Because like Facebook is known for like arguments and fighting and all this, and maybe there isn't quite so much of that on TikTok, but I don't know. I wouldn't know. But yeah, that makes it difficult because I don't consume as much of this short form kind of content, and so it's difficult for me to make videos for it because A, I don't take it as seriously as maybe I should because now it's what everybody's watching. To me, like short form videos, like what is that? Like why, you know, like I can barely. I feel like I can't take it as seriously, but I should. Admittedly, that's a bit ignorant and old timery of me. So I'll play here because it's an extra point. Oh, I guess if I was going to play Gote, I should have played here, but anyway. And we can get K3. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Come on, N17. That's Sente. Come on. Come on, come on. Okay. The awkward part is that he'll be watching this afterward, and then he'll be like, oh, this guy's so rude. You don't normally, when you're playing games, you don't, if you're playing a tournament or something, you don't normally have the archive of it afterwards. And then normally you're playing against randoms. So then you can be a bit more honest. But no, it's a competitive game. Like dealing with this Moyo, like to be fair, like I am the worst at handling this Moyo games because it's so easy to freak out when you see these big areas to be like, "Oh my god." And then you don't know what to do and then you panic and then you invade deeply and then you lose. And then you're like and when your opponents do it, they just manage to handle it no matter for some reason. And so it feels a bit like magic. So I definitely understand the impulse. I mean, I used to play this. This is what I used to do. And then I think what happened was In Seong was like, "Oh, you have this, you should play in a way that's like play in a more territorial style because of how it's I can't remember, like it makes like I basically my issue was that I would lose because what was it? I would like lose at the very last second. And that happens a lot with Moyo games because as I said, you have to be like perfect. You have to really be able to execute on it or hope that your opponent panics. And if you play a territorial style, then it becomes more consistent. And so I played this very territorial style. And now I'm a bit in between because I don't like big Moyo games, and so I try to avoid them. And then also I don't like territorial games because on both extremes the game becomes very simple because there's no fighting. But of course, I don't want to be fighting really horribly since the start. I'd rather split the board up and have some fights and some, a little bit of everything. That's kind of what I like. And luckily, you can normally enforce that kind of a game because it's like maximum disorder, if you get what I mean. Maybe not maximum disorder, but it's like disordered enough that you can that's the kind of game that you can get if you opt for it, I guess. But I'm just talking out my ass right now. I have no idea. Um, yeah, I guess we have Dame and then the game is over. Am I 100% connected? I am 100% connected. That's always a fun feeling because none of your stones are disconnected. Feels good. So who wins in terms of captures? I get 6, 7, 8. And 9. And then, let's see, 9 minus 3. So I get 6 captures for me. So that means that these 6 points here get filled in. I also have Comey. I completely forgot I have Comey. Yeah. And then, what are we going to do? Dame. Because when you play in the UK, you play using AGA rules, I think? You pass, and when you pass, you give the other person your stone.
Remove the dead
Right?
stone.
And yeah, winning by 20 points.
You have won.
All right. So we'll see how they want to review this, and I'll see you all in a moment. I guess like what did you so like about the game? I mean, I guess I have the AI, the AI kind of agrees that it was kind of like even-ish up to a point,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was like the invasion. But are there any other thoughts off the top of your head?
Yeah, I would have to go through more slowly to look at something. I don't know what to do against the 3/3 corner. I knew it one time, but I've forgotten by now, and people don't play it often enough that
Yeah, I do it because In Seong did a lecture where he was like, "Oh yeah, you can play this kind of a shape, and you can kind of provoke people into approaching over here or playing something like this, and then it becomes a fight." But no one ever really does that. So
mm,
all of that's that I don't remember anything that he said or taught because never got to use it. Um, I guess like here, one one thing is that my understanding is that this stone is a bit of a better placement than when it's at A. So the
mm,
shape is just a little bit stronger. Although I guess there is still the cut here, so you can still do this Hane. So maybe it's not that much better. I never play the shape in real games because of that. But maybe I'm too perfectionistic. I don't know. It's maybe one of those small differences that are more important for pros than for amateurs, perhaps.
mm-hmm. Yeah. This is
Um,
just the main kind of like 4/4 variation that I just play most of the time. So,
yeah,
and it's simple enough that it rather than like a double approach or something that I can just play it and know that I'll be fine playing afterwards. So,
I was a bit surprised that you Tanuki'd here because I was expecting from one push, then you would at least continue a little bit and then
yeah,
build the side.
in hindsight, yeah, I can see this
But I
was
guess
a
it
good
doesn't
idea.
really matter that much. Um, but yeah, so I did this turn in this Atari, and then you're like, nah, we're coming after this now. Um,
Yeah, I was reading mainly G2, and then when you played G3, I was like, oh, that is a good move. So, yep, starting
yeah,
to see
because
it here.
I was really planning to play like this, and then of course this is a
Yep,
bit soft, so then you'd want to play here, and then but then yeah, so then of course
gets
G2
easy.
instead.
Yep. So yeah, this felt bad, but not like major game losing or anything. It was just kind of sad, but
Yeah, it felt like Black got pressed a little bit low, and then after this turn, Black then has to live,
mhm.
and then White can take Sente. So I turned here and I thought that this was Sente, but I actually don't think it was. Because if Black plays away now, then this one and here, and that's alive. So I shouldn't have
Yep.
turned. That wasn't Sente.
Mhm.
But then, so yeah, responded, and yeah, there was this really amazing. I'm sure, yeah, this A move in set in this nice end game later. So I was really worried that you would get that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I probably should have been looking for it earlier.
Okay, because yeah. Anyway, so then here, and apparently the AI says that responding like this was too passive. So apparently White was. I mean, I only had the point estimator up quickly. I probably should have left it alone and not looked at it. So my bad. Sorry that I
Oh,
took a
I don't
look.
care. Yeah.
But yeah, so apparently white was slightly ahead and now lost their advantage because black is now quite big. So that yeah, it was a bit tricky to know where to go from here, and yeah, so now it's even apparently.
Mhm.
But yeah, it feels. I see what you mean though, because you left a comment saying that your style is quite a bit different. So I guess my read on that is that you like to play these big frameworks then.
Well, normally my opponents don't actually let me get them, I would say even close to this big, but yeah, I think my like strength as a player is definitely more so the opening, and then the mid game and end game are where I'm weaker. And I think you were kind of like almost the opposite from what I was when I was watching your video, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Like your idea in the opening was almost completely different than what I was thinking of and looking at a lot of the times. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that was kind of mainly why I commented.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm a player who tends to be strong at the opening, and then I tend, well, last time I had lessons, uh, my fighting isn't that great. So like
Mm,
when I kind of started doing that around 2020, I mean, I've been playing since 2012, but around 2020, I would have this problem where I would be doing very, very well in my games. I would just be absolutely destroying my opponent, and then I would make this really horrible mistake at the end, and then lose the
Yep.
game.
Yep.
So yeah,
Sounds exactly like my experience, pretty much.
that was really that was that comes from like a lot in Song says like quote unquote lack of game experience. So it means that like not doing enough life and death problems, not playing enough, um, this kind of thing, and it's difficult to know how to solve it. But basically, it's something where I mean this around 2020 that was just like I think 2017, 2016-ish AI hits the scene.
Hmm.
So, I have my entire Go playing career where I'm just like brute force learning. Um, so there's no way to really like correct your
Yeah.
like your blunders if you don't catch them yourself. And it took a long time basically to cover all of that. So it's easier to fix that kind of thing now. But yeah, so yeah, this attachment and here. So yeah, I was thinking of playing this one because something like this would be like if you imagine an empty board, something like this would be normal.
Hmm.
But I mean, you can still turn here, and then because of this stone, it's a bit awkward to know what to do next. So it's like here
Mm.
and then like this, and it feels a bit awkward. So that's why I tried to play here first. I'm not sure if that's good or not, but that's what I thought.
I think it worked out okay. Yeah, I wish I had found some way to attack this better, but I couldn't really quite find it in the game.
I guess like in terms of attacking it better, like you could try something like this, but this is also like a large knight's move. There's still the attachment down here. So I guess
Yes.
like because there's two ways for white to escape, it's not so easy to attack, I guess.
Yep. I was trying to read for a long time if a move like S11 or S10 was sente towards the top group to prevent
Hmm,
that connection, but
that's
yeah,
a
I
good
could
point.
never find a way that it was working. So
Yeah, I'd hope not. But
you did play S13 as kind of like a slower move preemptively to defend that. So
yeah. Yeah, because that's the reason I said this in the recording, but that's why I swipe this way a little bit. That's why I didn't play A at B, because you would get C later. And of course
mm,
that's still Joseki, that's still fine. You can play D and but then it becomes complicated and I don't remember it. So that's why I was like, okay, I play A and C because I don't remember anything.
yep,
So yeah, so then up to here and this push, and then okay, I can continue, but it's black is going to be way too big if I just continue, so that's why I tried the deep invasion here.
yep.
And then it was difficult because it's not there's no easy there's no maybe digging here in here wasn't the best idea. Maybe I should try
Yeah,
something
I
else.
was expecting a move like around like L11 or L10, maybe somewhere around there. Not
Yeah,
quite as deep, but
yeah. That makes a lot of sense because it's just reducing instead of doing the full invasion. I
yep.
guess my plan was to try the deep invasion and then what I've been seeing while reviewing with the AI is that you can play like more lightly or try and go for the weaknesses. But I didn't quite know where to go from here, so then I decided to just stick to reducing. Similar idea to L10, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I regret this G17 move too.
Yeah, it was.
Um,
I feel bad. It was a bit sneaky because I was playing it with the intention of playing this Atari and connecting here.
yep.
So I was thinking if you play here, then it's a bit weird. But then I guess I get
Yeah, the
this.
push through I think is too good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's. I felt a bit
Well, and
sneaky, but
so
maybe it's not as sneaky as I thought.
well, I read the same thing that you played, and I was thinking it's Gote for you to play it,
Mm,
but then I didn't realize the power of I think L18 or M18
yeah,
later,
for
and
sure.
that's what got me.
Yeah,
So, because I read out to here, and then I said, oh, like F9 is going to be a good move for me to play because I'll have Sente at the end of this, and then yeah, the M18 was pretty big.
I was hoping that I could go for the cut, but here you have this, and then you have the double Atari here, so I thought, okay, we'll
Hmm.
extend, and then there's this, and I have to fix this again, and oh, and then oh, and no. That's I was like, okay,
Yep.
I
Yeah,
have
the
to be
corner is
solid.
kind of thin, so yep.
Exactly. But yeah, and then you're still quite big. I was quite happy to get this cut because I thought like, oh, it's extra points. One thing that I said during the game was that I used to have this kind of a style. I mean, obviously, uh, obviously, you'll this only happens in your games when playing against people like me, I guess. But I used to play on Go Panda, and then I would
Mhm.
play like my opponents would always go for frameworks, and I would hate playing against them because I wasn't great at fighting, and so that means I wasn't great at invading either. And so I
Yep.
thought, okay, well, if I just make bigger areas, then I'm the one with the framework.
Yep.
But the big issue is that there's all these weaknesses, and so you have to like be like very perfect to the very end. So it always looks really intimidating, and sometimes opponents panic. And I mean, I do too sometimes as well. But if you can keep your cool, then there's often more that's going on. So yeah, I guess there's this invasion that happened.
Yep.
It's not really an invasion; it's just splitting the group.
Yeah, yeah. Just the connection. Yep.
So here, and then I suppose you have to capture, and then can this work? Not, and then here, yeah, no. Okay, I can't
It's
believe this
saying
steals an
I
eye. Am I wrong?
it's saying I push it S11 now.
S11. Okay, yeah, that makes sense because this is sent to come out. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Cool. So yeah, okay, then you live, and then
I could have also, instead of capturing at T9, push down at S6
say push down at S6
to threaten to connect to
instead
the
of
corner.
yeah, just sorry, I'm being slow here. I missed the branch. This is the branch, and not here. So sorry, what's the
Black
variation?
black S6 here instead of T9.
S6 S6 this way. Yeah, okay. And then here. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, this group is quite strong. Unless I get this.
Yep.
And then yeah, then losing a little bit of points here.
Yeah.
And then white was ahead.
Yep, for sure.
But I was sad
And
that
here
you got
was just
L2.
end game from here mostly.
Yeah. I was sad that you got L2 though, but oh well. And then here, yeah, as you said, like this M18 that really that was unpleasant. And then this really nice endgame move.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think
Yeah,
like I counted from here. Sorry, you
I
go.
think the L2 isn't quite that big. Because I was looking at whether I should play a move on the bottom for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
but it just felt like there wasn't really points to be made in the bottom. And like this makes a few, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 or something. But I think yeah, a move like B5 instead of L2 might have been better also.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like if you don't L2, then white M2. So it's one of those moves that look bigger by because you need to value both the moves. But then here, you know, you can still connect underneath, and it's just this is just so annoying. So yeah, it's and then I
I don't
can't.
think either one is making up like a 15-point deficit though, so it probably doesn't really matter. I think the game was kind of decided after the right side group,
Yeah.
but
So yeah, I guess that's the other thing with the framework games is that they're relatively simple in terms of narrative because the
yes.
board the
I
board
was
gets segmented.
Yeah, I was laughing that your time got all the way up to like 20 minutes or something off of the Fisher time. It's because the game was so simple and there wasn't much super complicated fighting that we got into, so
Yeah. I guess like how did it happen? It all happened because I let you push. So here, and instead, and to be fair, like I think the AI doesn't really like responding here. It really wants to do something, do something in here,
yep.
and that would have segmented things up a little bit more.
Yes.
But oh well, it was a fun game anyway.
Yeah, it was fun.
But yeah,
Thank you for the game.
yeah, thanks as well. Yeah, so I guess I'll head off and do some editing. Do you have a lot of do you have holidays coming up soon, or in terms of like
Yeah, I'm going to be moving houses and then out of town around New Year's for like a week, so it's going to be a very hectic holidays for me, but
yeah, I think when I moved into this place, I moved in on like the 5th of December or 12th or something like that. And I remember we had moved, like I lived just north of London, and like we take the train, like we have to take the train to come out up here. And I remember we made the whole journey and then we threw everything in and then we left. So yeah, I've done the same thing. It happens when you move around this time. I hope that goes smoothly then.
yep, I think it'll be good.
Cool. But yeah, thanks a lot for the game, and let me know if you want to play again some other time.
Sure, yeah, I'm sure eventually I'll improve a little bit first and then maybe come back for revenge, I'm sure, so
Yeah. Let me know,
give it a few months.
and yeah, have a good rest of your day.
Sounds good. You too.
Bye.
See ya.